Hey, my name is Artindi, and this is not a sarcastic video. Yes, I do sometimes make those. In today's very saturated indie game market, it can be hard to get your game noticed, but one of the best ways is through streamers and game reviewers. I'm on both sides of social media marketing. In my real life job, I talk to influencers about promoting products, and I have this channel where I talk about indie game development, and even with my relatively small channel size and non-standard topic, I get at least 5 emails a week from developers hoping I can show off their game, and I've noticed a few things that I think could help indie developers have better email outreach. So here are 10 tips on how you can get your game noticed by influencers through email outreach. Number 9 is probably the most important, as well as the hardest to pull off. Also, if you've reached out to influencers in the past, let us know in the comments what's worked and what hasn't worked for you. Let's go. Number 1, use proper email etiquette. This one is first because it's pretty obvious, but also very important. If you're going to send emails, be professional. Double check spelling and use proper grammar. People will conclude a lot of things about you based on how you present yourself in an email. And if you don't sound professional, they won't think you are. Number 2, clearly define your game. In your email, influencers should be able to understand what genre your game is, what it's about, and what makes it interesting in the first paragraph. Hi, my name is so-and-so, and my indie game is... fill in the blank here with your best elevator pitch. Embed 1 or 2 GIFs or pictures that can quickly show the main gameplay loop. You want them to be able to visualize themselves playing your game and showing it off to their audience. That way they can sell themselves on it and you won't have to convince them, which you shouldn't anyway. Number 3, make it easy. Because they get so many emails a day, you don't want to give a potential influencer any reasons to skip your game for a different one. Include all relevant links. With a single click, the influencer should be able to find where your game is hosted, watch the trailer, and have access to a press kit. Which brings us to number 4, make a press kit. A press kit is a folder that includes high-resolution logos, important screenshots or art, font and color schemes, or whatever else might be helpful for creators to make their own thumbnails or graphics. Most often, a press kit is on a Google Drive or other cloud storage that can be accessed with a provided link. If you have a press kit, you are that much more likely to have an influencer pick up and show off your game because they'll see it as easier for them to do their own behind-the-scenes work. Number 5, leave your offer with no strings attached. If you say, here's a key to my game just for you to enjoy. If you like it, feel free to show it off to your audience. Will come off so much better than, if you promise to play my game on your stream, I'll send you a key. In other markets, such as in my real life job, the product producer can bargain with the content creator, making agreements like, you can have this product if you promise to make 3 videos showing it off. But in the saturated indie game market, the influencers hold all the cards, which brings us to number 6. You are not in charge. Because influencers have so many games to pick and choose from, unless your game is somehow already well known and marketed, you hold very little leverage, and your email should reflect that to some extent. I've received emails that come off as a bit demanding, saying things like, in exchange for, fill in the blank, I'll give you a key. Or, hey, my game is the best and you should play it on your stream. People don't like being told what to do. Obviously, try to be as polite as possible and recognize that in this market, you are not in a position of leverage. But on the flip side, number 7, don't sound like a beggar. I've gotten emails that sound pathetically desperate. Not only does it immediately make the influencer want nothing to do with your project, but saying things like, I've tried everything and no one will show off my game. You are my last hope. Please, 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 please. It's just very unprofessional and no one wants to feel like they're the second option. And yes, I have actually seen emails just like that. So try to find a nice middle ground. Understand that influencers have all the cards, but also don't grovel. From what I've seen, the best thing to do is something simple like, hey, my game is such and such, and it's about this and that, and I would love for you to have a chance to play it. Make it personal or don't. When it comes to email outreach, there are 2 schools of thought. You can go for mass outreach, making a copy-pasted email, only changing the greeting to match the recipient and sending it to as many influencers as possible. The idea being if you send an email to enough people, at least some will respond. Or you can make a customized and personalized email for every person you reach out to, increasing the chances of that individual responding to your personalized outreach. Now, there are pros and cons to both, and neither one is necessarily better than the other, so I'll give you some tips for each. My advice on mass outreach is don't try to hide the fact your email is a copy-paste with phony lines like, I've been following you for a while and love your content, or based on your creative style, I think your audience is going to love to see my game. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like if they actually saw what my creative style was, they wouldn't want me to promote their product or game. So I'm always pretty sure they're lying, at least to me. In mass emails, do include the specific influencer's name, but cut to the chase and show off your game with a, hello so-and-so, my name is, and my game is, and fill in the blank from there. Pretending you know the influencer well when you actually don't might not matter to some content creators, but it does to others, so I recommend just leaving it out. If you're going for personalized outreach, which isn't always possible because you only have so much time in a day, get to know the influencer and show that you actually understand them and their content. I recently had someone reach out to me about their game, referencing a joke I made in a video covering the genre of their game. I don't know if they're a longtime fan. All I know is that they actually understand me and my content to a degree that they genuinely showed, making me that much more likely to play their game. And I've also had people reach out who I recognize from my YouTube comment section. Proving a personal connection, or at least showing you understand who they are, can only improve your chances, but only if it's genuine. Don't be a faker, because people can see fakers from a mile away and it just won't go well. Number 9. Your outreach is only as good as your game. Even if you draft the best email possible, it won't amount to anything if you don't have a quality game behind it. On more than one occasion, I've done blind reviews on a live stream of games people have sent me through email. In the email, the game looked promising, but these streams quickly turned into a teaching moment of, okay, here's what not to do in game design, because the games were so poorly crafted. Now, this wasn't an issue on my channel because my channel focuses on good and bad game design, and I'm not trying to knock anybody, but if I had a more typical game reviewing channel, then more than likely I would have tested the game off camera first before deciding to not feature it at all. My best advice is find someone you trust who understands game design and who isn't afraid to kindly hurt your feelings. Figure out as early on as possible which games are commercially worthy and which games are probably best to just be considered practice or prototypes. Get feedback from early playtesters and hold off on pitching your games to influencers until you are confident you are shipping your best. Of course, don't get held back by perfectionism, but at least try to understand and reach the admittedly vague standard for what can pass as a quality commercial game. The great news, if your game is awesome enough, people will recognize it and the game will sell itself. And of course, if your game is great, don't let a bad email keep people from knowing about it. Number 10. Don't be afraid to send a follow-up email. It never hurts to be persistent because it may pay off. Worst case, they ignore you a second time. Best case, another chance of seeing your game leads them to decide it's worth a try. Only send a second email after several days to a week, saying something like, hey, just in case my last email got lost in the shuffle, I wanted to reach out again. Don't send more than 3 follow-up emails, and be thoughtful with the wording you use so you can sound consistent with your hopefully no strings attached expectations. Be sure to attach follow-up emails to the same conversation so that you don't need to include all the details from the first email. They should be able to just scroll up and see everything you said in the first one. So these are my 10 tips for influencer email outreach based on my personal experiences. If you have any other tips, please drop them in the comments so we can all help each other become better game developers. Thank you for watching and have a beautiful day.